I'm going to use the analogy of a vulnerability is something like if you have a car and it has bald tires on it. To me, the bald tires are a vulnerability, meaning standing by themselves, it's actually, you can drive it, but there's a greater likelihood that you're going to spin out, you're going to get bad weather and rain, and something's going to happen, or you'll get a puncture because there's no tread left on the tire. So that's, hey, you got bald tires, Paul. That's a lack of context. Yeah, everybody thinks, oh, I got to go get some tires. But when you add context to things like Paul brought up one thing about age. Well, the longer you drive on those bald tires, the worse they're going to get, and the more likely you're increasing every day, chance over chance, that something wrong is going to hit that vulnerability. You're increasing your chances. So you really don't want it to be on there for a year or 2 years. You want to get it as soon as possible. Severity, he mentioned priority. Well, think if you have a rear wheel car. Maybe you want to swap out. You can't afford to do all of them. So you got to prioritize. Ooh, what do I want to do first? Oh, it's a rear wheel drive car. I make sure I get my rear wheels first because that's where the traction gets. And that's going to cause me to slip and slide more than others. That's a severity issue. Quality. What are those tires protecting? If Paul's got a big baby on board, hey, your prioritization may go up through the roof a little bit more versus, it's my teenage crap son who doesn't have a job and still living at home at 25. I'm joking about that. They're all high priority. Okay. Or it's taking a busload of children. We would want to prioritize that different. I'd be like, I need to get this fixed. When it's just me driving it, I may deprioritize that versus my wife and my children. So that same concept of like the metric alone, hey, you got bald tires. Doesn't mean much. Remember, what's that story you're telling? What are you trying to protect? What's the severity? You start putting all those together and you get a good metric. And I swear this fits across not just cybersecurity, accounting and finance, human resources, whatever.
Now, let me add to that, Jason, because that's a great analogy. Because now you start to get into the story. And the story is, okay, is this on our Mustang, our GT Mustang that we take out to the track on dry conditions? Bald tires are exactly what you want, right? That's the kind of tire you want. There's also environmental factors that you can help to tell the story. So say it's not a racing car, it's just a regular car and it's bald tires. Is it summertime? Is it winter? Is it wet? Right? Is it the rainy season? Because if it's rainy or snowy, now these environmental factors accelerate the priority. And change the whole conversation that you should be having.
Yep.
And that's the story that goes with the data that you're providing.
Even if your story is the analogy, like how Paul just talked about critical vulnerabilities, execs may gloss over there, but they know cars. You might hit it better if that story is the analogy to your metric.
It's the elephant in the